Вы когда-нибудь замечали, что те люди, которые раздражают вас сильнее всего, обладают именно теми чертами, что встречаются у знаменитостей? Вы не ловили себя на мысли, что вас раздражает коллега, который слишком много говорит на совещаниях, или член семьи, который никогда не критикует напрямую? Вы смотрите на них с разочарованием и осуждением, уверенные, что вы совсем другие. Но потом, в моменты, когда ваши внутренние защиты слабеют, на поверхность выходит неприятная истина. Те черты, что вызывают у вас раздражение, существуют и в вас самих. Это вовсе не совпадение. Карл Юнг, один из тех, кто глубоко исследовал человеческую психику, считал, что то, что мы презираем в других, часто отражает то, что мы отказываемся признавать в себе. Он называл это проекцией бессознательного. Мы приписываем другим людям те негативные черты, которые отвергаем в себе. Возможно, сейчас вы качаете головой, уверяя себя, что это не про вас. Но именно этого Юнг и ожидал. Наш разум инстинктивно защищается от неудобных истин с помощью отрицания. Спросите себя, почему именно этот человек вызывает у вас столь сильную реакцию, в то время как другие его даже не замечают? Ответ кроется в вашей тени. Юнг писал, что каждый человек носит в себе тень, ту часть личности, которую он вытеснил или отверг. Это те черты, которые не вписываются в ваш образ хорошего человека или не соответствуют ожиданиям окружающих. Возможно, вы с детства усвоили, что проявление эмоций – это слабость, и потому скрыли свою чувствительность. Или вас учили, что просить о помощи значит быть беспомощным, и вы подавили свою уязвимость. А может, вы поняли, что гнев – это неуместно, и начали прятать раздражение за вежливостью. Эти вытесненные части вас никуда не делись, они ушли вглубь, в подсознание. Там они продолжают влиять на ваше мышление, поведение и отношения, хотя вы и не осознаете этого. И когда вы встречаете человека, который ярко проявляет эти вытесненные черты, ваша тень начинает беспокоиться. Такой человек напоминает вам о доверчивости, которую вы стараетесь подавить. Кто-то слишком нуждающийся, о вашей собственной внутренней уязвимости, о агрессивной, о гневе, который вы когда-то погребли внутри. Истинная причина вашего раздражения не в них, а в глубинном внутреннем конфликте между тем, каким вы стремитесь казаться, и тем, кем вы на самом деле остались. Подумайте о последнем человеке, который по-настоящему вывел вас из равновесия. Какое именно его поведение вызвало у вас раздражение, заставило закатить глаза или сжать челюсти? Это была его зависимость от других. Надменность, неспособность слушать, постоянные жалобы. А теперь, и это требует особой честности, спросите себя, нет ли во мне чего-то похожего. Первая реакция может быть защитной, я совсем не такой. Но Карл Юнг понимал, что самые бурные отрицания чаще всего указывают на самые глубокие внутренние истины. Те качества, которые вызывают в нас самые сильные эмоции, зачастую, это именно то, что мы изо всех сил избегаем признавать в себе. Именно поэтому определенные люди могут давить на наши кнопки, в то время как другие даже не замечают этого. Тот, кто отражает черты, которые вы приняли в себе, не тревожит вас. Но тот, кто воплощает вашу тень, нарушает ваш внутренний покой, потому что демонстрирует то, чего вы не хотите видеть. Наши отношения становятся зеркалами, отражающими те стороны нас самих, которые мы предпочли скрыть. Манипулятор указывает на скрытые мотивы. Жертва – на подавленное чувство беспомощности. Перфекционист – на невыносимо высокие стандарты, которые мы сами себе навязали. Но вот что часто упускается из виду. Эти зеркала даны нам не для мучений, а для исцеления. Юнг считал, что путь к целостности, к тому, что он называл индивидуацией, проходит через интеграцию тени, а не ее отрицание. Это не значит, что следует следовать каждому подавленному импульсу. Это значит признать весь спектр своей личности и перестать переносить отторгнутые качества на окружающих. Когда вы принимаете свою тень, происходит удивительное. Те, кто раньше вызывали у вас бурю чувств, теряют над вами власть. Вам больше не нужно их осуждать, ведь вы больше не осуждаете ту часть себя, которую они в вас отражали. Вы начинаете видеть в говорливом коллеге того, кто тоже, как и вы, жаждет признания, только вы прячете это за своей внешней уверенностью. Друг, стремящийся к вниманию, вдруг напоминает вам о вашем собственном страхе остаться незамеченным, который вы маскируете независимостью. А тот родственник, кто болезненно воспринимает критику, просто защищает самооценку, так же, как и вы, только с помощью перфекционизма. Этот сдвиг восприятия меняет все. Но есть и более глубокий слой этой психологической истины. Ваша потребность в одобрении, страх быть осужденным, постоянное считывание реакций окружающих – все это указывает на внутреннее разделение. Вы отделили приемлемые черты себя от неприемлемых, и теперь боитесь, что кто-то увидит то, что вы пытались спрятать. Вы представляете миру тщательно сконструированный образ, то, что Юнг называл персоной. Это социальная маска, созданная для того, чтобы заслужить любовь, принятие, принадлежность. Но эта маска не вы. Это лишь то, кем, по вашему мнению, нужно быть, чтобы быть принятым. Персона играет важную роль, она помогает адаптироваться и соответствовать ожиданиям общества. Но когда она становится вашей личностью, вы теряете контакт с собой. Вы начинаете верить, что ваша ценность зависит от этого образа, и становитесь крайне чувствительны к тому, как вас воспринимают. Вы начинаете зависеть от внешнего одобрения, как от воздуха, потому что без него боитесь исчезнуть. Это истощает. Каждое взаимодействие превращается в спектакль. Каждое отношение становится условным. И каждый момент – в контролируемое впечатление, а не подлинное переживание. Вы утрачиваете связь со своими настоящими чувствами, мыслями, желаниями, потому что они могут не вписаться в ваш образ. Вы говорите «да», когда хотите сказать «нет». Улыбаетесь, когда грустно. Соглашаетесь, когда не согласны. И постепенно становитесь чужими себе. Ирония в том, что пока вы изо всех сил стараетесь, чтобы вас полюбили за вашу персону, люди на самом деле тянутся к подлинности. Они чувствуют разницу между искренним человеком и тем, кто играет роль, даже если не могут это объяснить. Подумайте о тех, кто вызывает у вас уважение или теплое чувство. Это люди, которые кажутся идеальными. Или это те, кто честны и настоящие. Те, кто никогда не демонстрирует слабости. Или те, кто открыто делятся своими трудностями. Это те, у кого всегда есть ответы. Или те, кто не боится задавать настоящие вопросы. Подлинность притягивает, потому что она редкость. В мире, где большинство занято созданием и поддержанием образа, многие утратили навык быть собой. Когда вы сталкиваетесь с человеком, который принял свою тень и перестал притворяться, кем он не является, это ощущается как глоток воды в засушливой пустыне. Но чтобы стать таким человеком, необходимо мужество, смелость честно взглянуть на себя. Это означает прекращение бегства от тех сторон личности, которые не соответствуют вашему идеализированному «я». Необходимо признать в себе нуждающегося ребенка, гневного мятежника, сомневающегося исполнителя, скрытого стратега. Речь не идет о том, чтобы превратиться в них. Важно лишь признать их наличие, чтобы они перестали управлять вами из тени. Когда вы подавляете свои потребности, они прорываются в виде пассивной агрессии или чрезмерной уступчивости. Подавленный гнев становится обидой или уводит в депрессию. Неуверенность маскируется самодовольством или стремлением к соперничеству. Отрицание склонности к манипуляции проявляется в вине, контроле или роли жертвы. Тень не исчезает от того, что вы ее игнорируете. Она просто находит обходные пути, выражаясь в поведении, от которого вы стараетесь откреститься. Но если вы встречаете эти аспекты себя с пониманием, а не с осуждением, они утрачивают власть над вами. Вы способны испытывать потребность, не впадая в зависимость. Вы можете злиться, не разрушая. Чувствовать неуверенность, но не защищаться. Замечать манипулятивные мысли и не действовать на их основе. Это и есть начало психологической свободы. Юнг считал, что большинство человеческих страданий возникает из-за внутреннего раскола, конфликта между тем, кем мы думаем, что должны быть, и тем, кем являемся на самом деле. Тот, кто принял свою тень, не нуждается в постоянном одобрении. Он не прячется от самого себя. Ему не нужно контролировать мнение окружающих, потому что он примирен со своей человеческой несовершенностью. Такой человек сосредотачивается на себе не из эгоизма, а из целостности. Он может молчать не потому, что отстранен, а потому, что внутренне устойчив. Он не реагирует на каждый внешний раздражитель, потому что его внутренние конфликты уже разрешены. Такое состояние становится возможным, когда вы начинаете распознавать закономерности. Когда понимаете, что именно ваши проекции формируют вашу реальность. Когда осознаете, что те, кто вас раздражает, на самом деле преподают вам уроки о вас самих. Когда понимаете, что зависимость от одобрения мешает вам узнать свою суть. Это требует смелости подвергнуть сомнению все, что вы думали о себе и окружающих. Это требует ответственности, не обвинять внешние обстоятельства, а взять на себя контроль над собственными реакциями. Это требует признания. Зачастую вы бессознательно создавали те самые ситуации, от которых страдаете. Но этот дискомфорт – плата за настоящую свободу. И как только вы ее вносите, как только видите эту закономерность, многое начинает меняться. Ваше отношение к другим трансформируется, потому что изменилось отношение к самому себе. Вы прекращаете сражаться с тенями, потому что начинаете с ними взаимодействовать. Вы перестаете бессознательно проецировать и начинаете действовать осознанно. Вы больше не играете ради признания, вы живете из глубины своей подлинности. И это только начало. Осознание шаблона – первый шаг к восстановлению вашей внутренней автономии. Необходимо глубже исследовать те бессознательные механизмы, которые управляли вами без вашего ведома. А если источник вашей силы в молчании? Не в молчании из страха или отступления, а в тишине человека, который больше не подпитывает систему, удерживающую его в ловушке. Большинство живут в состоянии непрерывной реакции. Кто-то их критикует, они немедленно защищаются. Кто-то игнорирует, они бросаются за вниманием. Кто-то бросает вызов, и они тут же отвечают. Это жизнь в автоматическом режиме, без осознания. Это результат бессознательной настройки. Юнг понимал, под нашим осознанным мышлением скрыта обширная сеть автоматических ответов, усвоенных паттернов и коллективных установок. Он называл это коллективным бессознательным, психической наследственностью всего человечества, которая влияет на нас больше, чем мы осознаем. Но вот что важно. Каждый раз, когда вы реагируете автоматически, вы укрепляете тот самый шаблон, в плену которого находитесь. Каждый раз, когда вы оправдываетесь, защищаетесь или стараетесь доказать свою правоту перед тем, кто вас задел, вы усиливаете то, от чего хотите избавиться. Когда вы отдаете контроль внешним обстоятельствам, вы теряете собственную силу и превращаетесь в марионетку, подвластную невидимым нитям. Вспомните вашу последнюю ссору с близким человеком. Можете ли вы уловить тот самый момент, когда вы перестали слушать и начали обороняться? Когда рациональное мышление отключилось, и нечто другое взяло управление на себя. Это нечто, не ваше истинное «я». Это ваши бессознательные паттерны, вступившие в игру. Юнг называл их автономными комплексами, самостоятельными психологическими образованиями, которые могут овладеть сознанием, когда активируются. Эти комплексы, словно внутренние персонажи, обладающие собственными сценариями, рожденными из детских травм, культурных установок и подавленного опыта. У вас может быть комплекс отвержения, из-за которого вы становитесь угодливым. Или комплекс покинутости, делающий вас чрезмерно зависимым от других. Возможно, вы движимы комплексом неполноценности, толкающим вас к постоянным достижениям. Или у вас есть комплекс контроля, который проявляется в манипулятивном поведении. Эти психологические конструкции не вы. Они сформировались как механизмы защиты, чтобы уберечь от боли. Но сегодня они создают больше страданий, чем избавляют от них. Когда кто-то активирует один из ваших комплексов, вы больше не выбираете, как реагировать, вы автоматически воспроизводите старую программу. Вы действуете не как взрослый человек, а как раненый ребенок, когда-то впервые создавший этот защитный механизм. Вот почему конфликты в отношениях повторяются. Почему в вашу жизнь снова и снова приходят одни и те же трудные люди. Почему вы наступаете на одни и те же грабли, несмотря на обещания, в следующий раз все будет иначе. Проблема не в осознанных решениях, проблема в бессознательных реакциях. Но что меняется, когда вы перестаете подкармливать эти программы? Когда вместо немедленной реакции вы выбираете молчание? Когда вы начинаете наблюдать за своими реакциями, а не подчиняться им? Все начинает трансформироваться. Юнг пришел к выводу, что сознание развивается в процессе снятия проекций и интеграции внутренних комплексов. Но этот процесс возможен только тогда, когда вы перестаете автоматически реагировать и начинаете внимательно изучать свою внутреннюю реакцию. Молчание становится пространством, в котором начинается это исследование. Непритворное молчание, где вы подавляете чувства. Не избегающее молчание, продиктованное страхом перед конфликтом. А осознанное молчание – тишина, в которой вы позволяете себе все прочувствовать, но не даете эмоциям управлять действиями. Такой тип молчания радикален. Он нарушает цикл автоматических реакций, удерживающих вас в плену старых сценариев, которые вы якобы хотите изменить. Когда кто-то вас критикует, а вы не начинаете оправдываться, вы создаете возможность задать себе вопрос: почему эта критика задевает меня? Какая часть меня верит, что она справедлива? Что изменится, если я просто услышу мнение другого, не делая из него приговора себе? Когда вас игнорируют, и вы не стремитесь во что бы то ни стало привлечь внимание, вы оставляете пространство для саморазмышления. Почему мне так нужно их признание? Что я на самом деле от них жду? Почему я не даю себе сам то, в чем так отчаянно нуждаюсь? Когда вам бросают вызов, а вы не вступаете в спор, вы можете спросить: что именно я пытаюсь защитить? Действительно ли это важно? Или я защищаю лишь собственный образ? Такой самоанализ вызывает дискомфорт. Он требует взять ответственность за свои чувства, вместо того, чтобы обвинять других. Проще поверить, что это кто-то вас злит, чем признать: гнев поднимается из старых внутренних ран. Но Юнг знал, этот внутренний дискомфорт – цена психологической зрелости. Пока вы не возьмете под контроль свои реакции, вы останетесь зависимыми от внешнего мира. Вы передаете другим власть над своим эмоциональным состоянием, своей самооценкой и внутренним покоем. Вы становитесь зависимыми от их реакции, потому что до сих пор не научились создавать чувство собственной ценности внутри себя. В глубине этой зависимости от внешнего одобрения скрывается один из мощнейших бессознательных механизмов, о которых писал Карл Юнг. Она зарождается в детстве, когда ребенок начинает понимать: любовь, внимание и чувство безопасности напрямую зависят от того, насколько он соответствует ожиданиям окружающих. Малыш, которого хвалят за послушание, учится подавлять свои естественные желания ради сохранения одобрения. Тот, кого наказывали за проявление эмоций, начинает прятать свои чувства, чтобы не быть отвергнутым. Ребенок, чьи успехи – единственный путь к признанию, усваивает, что его ценность напрямую связана с результатами. Юнг называл это адаптацией к коллективу, процессом, в котором человек учится соответствовать социальным нормам, нередко в ущерб собственной подлинности. Эта адаптация необходима в детстве, чтобы выжить, но во взрослой жизни она превращается в тюрьму. В результате вы начинаете жить ради чужих ожиданий, а не ради своей внутренней истины. Ваши решения продиктованы не тем, что откликается вам, а тем, как это будет воспринято. Вы строите личность не из того, что отражает вашу суть, а из того, что приносит одобрение. Именно поэтому молчание становится такой угрозой для эго. Оно прекращает подпитывать систему зависимости от внешней оценки. Оно отказывается участвовать в гонке за признание и предполагает, что ваша ценность не требует подтверждения извне. Для эго это пугающе, ведь все его существование опирается на внешнюю обратную связь. Без постоянного одобрения оно словно теряет почву под ногами. Но Юнг сделал поразительное открытие: когда вы перестаете искать подтверждение вовне, вы начинаете находить его внутри. Как только вы больше не действуете из стремления к признанию, вы начинаете воссоединяться со своим подлинным «я». Когда вы больше не реагируете на внешние раздражители, вы учитесь опираться на свою внутреннюю мудрость. Это путь к индивидуации, процесс становления тем, кем вы являетесь в своей сути, а не тем, кем вы считаете, что должны быть. Индивидуация не происходит от чтения книг или размышлений. Она происходит из опыта, из маленьких, но сознательных выборов, осознанного присутствия вместо автоматической реакции, искренности вместо привычного исполнения роли. Каждый раз, когда вы замечаете, что испытываете раздражение, и вместо немедленной реакции просто наблюдаете, вы усиливаете свое сознание. Каждый раз, когда хочется оправдаться, а вы выбираете молчание, вы возвращаете себе силу, ранее отданную бессознательным комплексам. Когда вы улавливаете в себе желание заслужить одобрение, и вместо этого опираетесь на внутреннюю опору, вы приближаетесь к истинной психологической свободе. Этот процесс нелинеен. Вы не просыпаетесь однажды пробужденным. Это постепенное движение, происходящее в бесчисленных микромоментах. Вы можете поймать себя на середине привычной реакции и остановиться. Вы можете заметить привычку угождать и выбрать риск быть непонятым, лишь бы остаться верным себе. Вы можете почувствовать знакомое стремление к похвале и решить остаться в тишине, не зная, что о вас подумают. Каждое такое решение – победа над бессознательной программой. Каждый выбор в пользу осознанности укрепляет вашу способность жить сознательно. Но именно это делает путь таким сложным. Бессознательное не сдается без боя. Оно будет испытывать вашу решимость, подбрасывая тонкие аргументы и отговорки. Оно может внушать вам, что молчание – это слабость, что отказ от самозащиты делает вас уязвимым, что стремление к одобрению – просто забота о чувствах других. Это стратегии эго, которая стремится удержать вас в рамках знакомых сценариев. Потому что бессознательному комфортнее страдать привычным образом, чем столкнуться с тревожной свободой. Юнг называл это психологической инерцией, склонностью сопротивляться переменам, даже если эти перемены ведут к большей целостности и счастью. Именно поэтому большинство людей вновь и вновь попадают в одни и те же конфликтные отношения, делают те же карьерные ошибки, повторяют саморазрушительные шаблоны, несмотря на желание изменить жизнь. Потому что бессознательное сильнее добрых намерений. Но понимание этих механизмов уже сила. Оно позволяет вам не бороться с собой, а работать в партнерстве с собой. Распознавать, когда активизируются комплексы, и не следовать им. Испытывать внутренние импульсы, но не действовать автоматически. Замечать внутреннее сопротивление, но не поддаваться ему. В этом и кроется разница между теми, кто живет бессознательно, и теми, кто выбирает осознанность. Люди, ведомые программой, не замечают, как она управляет ими. Осознанные люди знают, что программа существует, и принимают ответственность за свой выбор. Молчание, которое рождается из сознания, радикально отличается от молчания, вызванного страхом или подавлением. Такое молчание наполнено вниманием, выбором и внутренней силой. Это молчание человека, который научился быть собой, не нуждаясь ни в одобрении, ни в отвлечениях. Именно в этой тишине начинает звучать голос вашего подлинного «Я». Под шумом социальных установок начинают проступать ваши подлинные чувства. Под слоями угождения и внешнего образа вы начинаете различать свои настоящие желания. Именно здесь и начинается подлинная трансформация, не в изменении внешнего мира, а в изменении того, как вы относитесь к своему внутреннему опыту. Не в стремлении контролировать чужие реакции, а во владении собственными. Не в поиске одобрения извне, а в возвращении к внутреннему принятию. Юнг понимал, единственные перемены, которые действительно преобразуют человека, это перемены внутри. Внешние перемены, не подкрепленные осознанием, нестабильны. Но внутренние сдвиги способны коренным образом изменить восприятие мира, независимо от обстоятельств. Когда вам больше не нужно чужое одобрение, чтобы чувствовать свою ценность, критика утрачивает свою силу ранить. Когда вам не нужно, чтобы кто-то дополнял вас, страх быть отвергнутым перестает разрушать. Когда вам не требуется, чтобы другие определяли, кто вы, их мнение перестает управлять вами. Это не означает безразличия или изоляции. Это значит, что вы входите в отношения не из дефицита, а из целостности. Не из нужды, а по выбору. Не из страха, а из любви. Но чтобы прийти к такому состоянию внутренней свободы, нужно научиться выносить дискомфорт, не зная, что о вас думают. Нужно быть готовым разочаровать тех, кто ожидает, что вы останетесь прежним. Нужно осмелиться отпустить связи, которые держались лишь потому, что вы играли удобную роль. Готовы ли вы отказаться от образа себя, чтобы стать собой настоящим? Ведь бывает момент, когда одно решение меняет все. Тот самый миг, когда вы прекращаете убегать от себя и начинаете двигаться навстречу тому, кем вам суждено быть. Каждое оправдание, каждый страх, каждое сомнение – все это остается позади. А впереди – чистый потенциал, ожидающий реализации. Настоящая трансформация начинается не с вдохновения или мотивационных фраз. Она начинается с выбора, не соглашаться больше на посредственность, не позволять обстоятельствам диктовать исход, вернуть ту силу, которая всегда принадлежала вам, но как-то была утрачена. Подумайте, какие были ваши самые сильные страхи? Что не давало вам уснуть? Посмотрите, где вы сейчас. Половина этих страхов так и не сбылась. А те, что стали реальностью, вы уже пережили. Вы стали крепче, и это доказывает вашу способность преодолевать, меняться, адаптироваться. Но большинство людей ошибочно думают, что трансформация – это стать кем-то другим. Тогда как истина в том, чтобы стать тем, кто вы есть под всеми слоями обусловленности, ограничивающих установок и ложных убеждений, которые вы когда-то приняли за истину. С раннего возраста ваш ум был запрограммирован на мышление в определенных рамках. Общество диктовало, что возможно, а что нет. Семья формировала взгляды на деньги, успех, отношения, вашу ценность. Опыт создал в мозге нейронные маршруты, которые управляют вашей жизнью на автопилоте. Но здесь есть важная, даже революционная истина. Ни одна из этих программ не является окончательной. Мозг обладает нейропластичностью, способностью изменяться и перестраиваться в любом возрасте. Каждая мысль, каждое действие, каждое новое решение буквально переписывает ваше мышление. Вы не та жертва, которой были. Тот, кто раньше соглашался на меньшее, это не ваша суть. Тот, кто сдавался при первом препятствии, это всего лишь старая программа. И ее можно изменить, начиная с этого момента. Вы можете установить новое программное обеспечение, новое мышление, новые привычки, новые автоматические реакции, которые не ограничивают вас, а поддерживают ваш наивысший потенциал. Но настоящая трансформация требует большего, чем просто позитивных установок. Она требует встречи с теми частями себя, которых вы избегали, с тем ребенком, который чувствовал себя недостаточным, с тем подростком, который решил больше никогда не рисковать, с тем юным взрослым, который потерпел неудачу и решил, что ему не суждено добиться успеха. Эти части вас все еще живут в тени, принимая решения на основе прошлого. Первый шаг к возвращению себе силы – признать их. Без осуждения, без борьбы. Просто увидеть их как защитников, которые когда-то помогали вам справиться. Но то, что помогло выжить в детстве, может мешать жить по-настоящему во взрослом возрасте. То, что в прошлом помогало вам выжить, во взрослом возрасте часто удерживает вас в ограничениях. Пришло время признать заслуги этих защитных механизмов, поблагодарить их за службу и сообщить им. Теперь вы способны справляться самостоятельно. Ваша нервная система была приучена воспринимать изменения как угрозу. Каждый раз, когда вы делаете шаг за пределы привычного, тело подает сигналы тревоги, учащенный пульс, потеющие ладони, мысли, заполненные страхами и негативными сценариями. Это не проявление слабости, это встроенный инстинкт выживания, работающий как надо. Но важно понимать, выживание не то же самое, что процветание. Чтобы по-настоящему меняться, нужно переобучить свои внутренние установки. Это делается через осознанное, контролируемое соприкосновение с дискомфортом, не через травмирующий стресс, а через посильные вызовы, которые помогают развить устойчивость к неопределенности. Каждый раз, когда вы делаете нечто пугающее и не рушитесь, вы создаете новое доказательство того, что перемены безопасны. Вы буквально обновляете свое внутреннее программирование. Проведите тот трудный разговор, которого избегали. Подайте заявку на должность, которой, как вам кажется, не дотягиваете. Выскажите свое мнение на собрании, хотя обычно молчите. Попросите о том, что вам нужно, вместо того, чтобы надеяться, что вас поймут без слов. Эти действия, пусть и вызывающие внутреннее напряжение, укрепляют вашу уверенность. Они становятся доказательствами того, что вы способны справляться с большим, чем предполагали. Также следует изменить свое отношение к неудачам. Многие стремятся их избегать, потому что верят, неудача – это знак того, что они сами неудачники. Но поражение – не определение личности, а обратная связь. Оно несет с собой ценные уроки, что не сработало, что стоит изменить, какие ожидания оказались ложными. Люди, добившиеся выдающихся результатов, чаще сталкивались с провалами, чем большинство тех, кто вообще не пробовал. Неудача – это не антипод успеха, а его часть. Но только при условии, что вы делаете выводы и применяете их в следующих попытках. Это требует смены фокуса, вместо «почему это опять со мной?». Чему меня учит этот опыт? Вместо «я не умею это делать», «я еще не умею это делать». Слово «еще» меняет перспективу. Оно предполагает, что текущее положение временное, что рост возможен, что развитие – это путь, а не мгновенный результат. Не менее важна среда, в которой вы находитесь. Люди рядом с вами, контент, который вы потребляете, темы ваших разговоров. Все это либо способствует вашему росту, либо мешает ему. Невозможно надолго превзойти уровень своего окружения. Если вы окружены людьми, которые жалуются, сдаются, отрекаются от мечт, со временем их энергия начнет тянуть вас вниз. Это не значит, что нужно изолироваться от всех, но важно выбирать, кому вы отдаете свое внимание и время. Окружите себя теми, кто уже находится на желаемом уровне. Ищите тех, кто стремится к развитию. Наставники, сообщества, вдохновляющие личности, их стандарты, ценности и привычки повлияют на ваши собственные установки. Их вера в возможность расширит вашу. Многие ошибаются, думая, что трансформация требует мгновенных, масштабных изменений. Они пытаются перевернуть всю жизнь за пару дней и выгорают к середине недели. На самом деле устойчивые перемены происходят за счет малых шагов, повторяемых ежедневно. Речь идет о том, чтобы становиться всего на 1% лучше каждый день. Это не быстрый скачок, это накопительный процесс. Ваши повседневные привычки – это выборы в пользу того, кем вы хотите быть. Каждое маленькое действие – это голос в пользу той версии себя, которой вы стремитесь стать. Вы выбираете тренировку, вы выбираете здоровье. Вы берете книгу вместо телефона, вы выбираете рост. Вы выходите из зоны комфорта, вы выбираете силу. По отдельности это кажется незначительным, но в совокупности эти шаги создают трансформацию. Это эффект накопления. Маленькие шаги, сделанные последовательно, приводят к большим результатам. 10 страниц в день – это 12 книг в год. 5-минутные тренировки – это десятки часов в год. Ежедневная экономия – это $1000. Это не просто дисциплина, это импульс, который превращает намерение в достижение. Но главное – не сила воли. Главное – кем вы себя считаете. Если вы видите себя человеком, который сдается, вы сдадитесь. Если вы ощущаете себя человеком, который завершает начатое, вы продолжите. Перемены начинаются не с поступков, а с идентичности. Не говорите «я хочу похудеть», скажите «я заботлюсь о теле». Не «мне нужно экономить», а «я разумно распоряжаюсь деньгами». Поверьте в это, прочувствуйте это, действуйте из этой позиции, и трансформация начнется. Ваши мысли формируют вашу реальность. Не через аффирмации, а через фокус. Туда, куда вы направляете внимание, растет ваша жизнь. Если вы концентрируетесь на страхе, нехватке и неудаче, вы будете воспроизводить их. Но если вы выбираете замечать возможности, рост и силу, ваша жизнь начнет меняться. Это не отрицание реальности, а выбор реагировать осознанно. Ваше эмоциональное состояние – ваша ответственность. Никто и ничто не может заставить вас чувствовать, пока вы сами не дадите на это внутреннее разрешение. Мы чувствуем не из-за событий, а из-за того, как мы их интерпретируем. Это и есть свобода. Способность выбирать свое эмоциональное состояние – суперсила. Вы можете испытывать уверенность даже в моменты страха, благодарность даже в несовершенстве, силу даже в трудностях. Эмоции не нужно подавлять, но и подчиняться им не обязательно. Выслушайте, осознайте, сделайте выбор. Ваши стандарты влияют на результаты больше, чем цели. Цель – это направление. Стандарты – это планка, которую вы устанавливаете ежедневно. Многие занижают ее, чтобы не разочароваться. Но это и есть путь к посредственности. Поднятие стандартов – это вызов самому себе. Это обещание жить в соответствии с тем, кем вы можете быть. Предназначение – это не нечто, что вас находит. Это то, что вы создаете. Это не точка на карте, а путь, по которому вы решаете идти. Не ждите, пока Вселенная пришлет знак. Начинайте действовать там, где вы есть, с тем, что у вас есть. Используйте свои дары, навыки, опыт, чтобы сделать жизнь хоть кого-то лучше. Это уже цель. Не нужно менять весь мир. Измените чей-то. Может быть, вашего ребенка, вашего друга, вашего клиента. Настоящее влияние не в масштабе, а в искренности и постоянстве. Вы меняете мир уже тем, что меняете себя. Каждый шаг, который вы делаете навстречу свободе, росту, ответственности, становится примером для других. Ваша смелость вдохновляет. Ваша честность дает надежду. Ваша трансформация создает волны, которые касаются других, даже если вы не замечаете этого. Не ждите подходящего момента. Он сейчас. Та версия вас, которая играла по-маленькому, заслуживает больше. И только вы можете дать ей это. Перемены начинаются с одного решения – больше не быть тем, кем вы себя привыкли считать. Они ускоряются, когда вы начинаете действовать несмотря на страх. И становятся необратимыми, когда вы делаете это не только ради себя, но и ради всех, кто ждет, что вы позволите себе сиять. Настоящая жизнь не потом. Она начинается сегодня. С этого выбора. С этой приверженности. С этого действия.
You think your enemy is outside. It's not. It's not your boss. It's not your situation. It's not even your past. Your real enemy is right there between your ears. It's those silent, subtle, sneaky habits that are stealing your time, your confidence, your potential. Every single day you wake up on a battlefield. And if you're not fighting, you're already losing. There are 7 habits, 7 invisible chains you must battle every single day, or they will bury your dreams while you're still alive. The first is procrastination. That moment you say, I'll do it later, is the moment your future gets postponed. Again, you think you're buying time, but you're selling your destiny. The second is negative self-talk, that quiet voice that whispers, you're not good enough, you'll fail, who do you think you are? That voice is not truth. It's poison. You don't need haters when your own mind is tearing you apart. The third is comfort seeking. Your comfort zone is a coffin. Every great thing in life lives on the other side of discomfort, but most people don't grow because they won't go through the pain. You've got to be willing to be uncomfortable if you want to rise. Then comes comparison. Social media has made it so easy to compare your real life to someone else's highlight reel. And every time you do that, you're draining your power. Stop looking sideways, your lane, your race, your pace. Excuse making is number 5. Excuses are just stories we tell ourselves to stay small. Every excuse you make is a wall you build between you and greatness. Stop justifying, start executing. Number 6 is lack of discipline. Look, motivation is great, but it's not reliable. Discipline is the king. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. Without it, you're a slave to your moods, your habits, your weakness. And the seventh habit, maybe the deadliest of them all, fear of failure. Not afraid of failing, you're afraid of people seeing you fail. That fear is your cage. And unless you break it, you'll stay trapped in a life far smaller than the one you're capable of living. This is not just another motivational speech. This is a call to war. These habits don't take a day off, and neither can you. Fight them every single day or get used to living a life that never reaches its full potential. You've got greatness inside you, but only if you're willing to go to war for it. You keep telling yourself you've got time, that you'll do it tomorrow, that one more scroll won't hurt, that one more hour of rest is deserved, that the deadline isn't that close. But let me tell you something straight. Procrastination is not a harmless habit. It's a thief. A silent, smiling thief that robs you of your potential while convincing you that everything's okay. It whispers comfort in your ear while it digs the grave of your dreams. Every time you delay the work, every time you hit snooze, every time you say, I'll start on Monday, you are making a micro decision to not live at your highest level. And the danger isn't that you're lazy. The danger is that you've made it normal. You've normalized delay. You've normalized putting off your purpose for another day. But guess what? That other day isn't guaranteed. Life doesn't owe you more time. You don't know how many Mondays you've got left. And even if you did, what kind of life are you building by constantly delaying your breakthrough? Procrastination is the killer of momentum. It's the dream assassin that doesn't need to fight hard. It just waits for you to relax. Because the truth is, success doesn't require genius. It doesn't demand perfection. It demands urgency. It demands consistency. It demands that you show up when you don't feel like it. That you work when you're tired. That you move even when there's no applause. And procrastination is the voice in your head telling you the exact opposite. Take it easy, it says. You've got time, it whispers. But later never comes. Only now is real. And let's be honest, procrastination isn't about time management. It's about fear. Fear of starting. Fear of failing. Fear of not being good enough. You delay not because you don't care, but because deep down you care too much and you're afraid you won't measure up. So you choose to avoid, you distract yourself with the small stuff to avoid the big work that truly matters. You pretend to be busy when really you're just hiding, but let me tell you this, every minute you spend avoiding the thing that matters, you're feeding the fear. You're reinforcing the belief that you're not ready, not worthy, not capable. And that's a lie. You are ready, you are capable. But you've got to break the habit of waiting. You've got to wake up every day and decide that today matters. That this hour, this minute, this task is the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to be. You want transformation? You want success? Then stop flirting with your dreams and start showing up like they're already yours. Because until you treat your goals like they're urgent, they'll stay out of reach. You've got to get to a point where procrastination becomes painful, where delaying your vision feels like betrayal, where wasting a day hurts more than working through discomfort. You've got to rewire your brain to see action as your default setting, not waiting, not hesitating, not analyzing until you're paralyzed. Just doing, moving, executing. You don't need more planning, you need more doing. You don't need more motivation, you need more discipline. You don't need a sign. This is your sign. Look around at the people who are winning. They're not the smartest, the strongest, or the luckiest. They're the ones who got sick of waiting, sick of standing in their own way, sick of wasting potential. They decide they'd rather make mistakes while moving than stay perfect while stuck. That's how you beat procrastination. Not by eliminating it entirely, but by choosing action anyway. By recognizing the moment your brain tries to delay and doing it anyway. By showing that your vision matters more than your comfort. Because the truth is, your future is not built in some distant someday, it's built in this very moment, right now. With the decision you make next, are you going to sit back and wait for the right time, or are you going to rise up, punch procrastination in the mouth, and declare that your time is now? Because that's what greatness demands, not perfection, not permission, just action, raw, bold, relentless action, even if it's messy, even if it's scary, especially when it's hard. Stop lying to yourself, stop selling yourself short. You weren't born to hesitate, you weren't born to delay, you were born to execute, born to build, born to dominate. And every day you let procrastination win, you're losing more than time, you're losing yourself. Don't let that happen. Not today, not anymore. Time to fight back, one decision at a time, one step at a time, and it starts now. There's a voice inside your head, and it talks more than anyone else in your life. It's with you when you wake up, it walks with you through the day, and it whispers to you when you lie in bed. The question is that voice building you or is it breaking you? Because for most people, that voice isn't a coach, it's a critic. It's not lifting them up, it's keeping them down. And here's the scary part. They've been hearing that voice for so long, they started believing it. You're not good enough. You'll always mess it up. You'll never change. Who do you think you are? That's not truth. That's not reality. That's a loop, a broken record created by past pain, rejection, fear, and failure. And the more you listen, the deeper it wires into your identity. Negative self-talk is mental poison. You don't need enemies when your own mind is attacking you 24/7. You could be in the room with 10 people cheering you on, and one small voice in your head can still make you feel like you don't belong. You could have talent, ambition, and fire. But if the voice in your head says you're not enough, you'll sabotage your own greatness. That voice isn't just annoying, it's dangerous. It can stop you from starting, it can stop you from finishing, and worst of all, it can stop you from even trying. Think about this. When a friend makes a mistake, you tell them it's okay, you'll bounce back, you've got this. But when you mess up, what do you say? I'm such an idiot, why do I always do this? I knew I'd fail. You talk to yourself in ways you'd never talk to someone you love. And that's the problem. If you wouldn't say it to someone you care about, why say it to yourself? Because the truth is, the most important relationship you'll ever have isn't with your parents, your partner, or your friends. It's with you. And if that relationship is toxic, no amount of success will feel like enough. You'll always feel like you're faking it, like you don't deserve it, like it's just a matter of time before it all crumbles. But here's the shift. Your mind is programmable. That voice, no matter how loud it's been, no matter how long it's ruled your life, can be retrained. You can change the dialogue. You can rewrite the script. You can catch yourself in the act and say, no, I'm done being my own enemy. I'm done tearing myself apart. I am not my failures. I am not my flaws. I am not my fear. You start by becoming aware. You don't fight the voice with more noise. You fight it with truth. You fight it with evidence. You remind yourself of what you've survived, of what you've built, of how many times you could have quit but didn't. You silence the lies by speaking louder with facts. And let me tell you this. Confidence is not about being perfect. It's not about never doubting yourself. Confidence is built every time you disobey that negative voice. Every time you say, I'm scared, but I'm doing it anyway. Every time you show up when that voice told you to hide. Every time you fall and rise again. That's how you shift the identity. That's how you take your power back. You don't have to be your worst critic. You can become your strongest ally. You can be the voice in your own head that says, let's go. That says, you've got this. But it won't happen by accident. It won't happen by hoping. It happens through repetition, through intention, through daily mental reps. Just like you train your body, you got to train your mind. Read powerful words. Speak life into yourself. Surround yourself with energy that fuels you. Stop letting the weakest parts of your past define the strongest parts of your future. And remember this, the most successful people in the world, they've heard the same voices you do. They've battled the same doubts, the same fears. The difference is they stopped listening. They chose to lead themselves instead. They chose new beliefs, and so can you. So the next time that voice shows up, and it will, don't let it win. Don't argue with it. Replace it. Rewrite it. Reclaim your mind. Because if you win the war in your head, nothing outside you can stop you. Not failure, not rejection, not criticism, nothing. When you become your own biggest believer, the world has no choice but to follow your lead. Comfort feels good. It's where you find temporary relief, temporary peace. It's that place where you don't have to push yourself, where you can just sit back and breathe easy. But let me tell you something right now. Comfort is a trap. It's the invisible cage that keeps your true potential locked up. It's the silent killer of growth. The moment you decide that comfort is more important than progress, you've already made the decision to settle for a life that's far beneath what you're capable of. Comfort is not your friend, it's the enemy disguised as relaxation, disguised as self-care, disguised as taking it easy. But let me ask you this, how many people do you know who reach greatness by taking it easy? How many legends, how many titans, how many icons do you know who achieved extraordinary success by staying comfortable? The answer is none. Every successful person you admire, they've been through hell. They've been through hardship. They've pushed themselves far beyond their comfort zone. They've made discomfort their best friend, their greatest ally. You see, growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when you're stretched beyond your limits, when you're forced to evolve, when you have no choice but to rise. When you seek comfort, you're making the decision to stop growing. You're choosing stagnation over expansion. You're choosing mediocrity over excellence. And here's the harsh truth. If you stay in your comfort zone long enough, you'll start to die inside. You'll lose your hunger. You'll lose your fire. You'll lose your ambition. Because the moment you settle for good enough, you've just created a gap between where you are and where you could be. And that gap is your enemy. That gap is your killer. The longer you sit in comfort, the further you drift from your destiny. Look at every great person who's ever lived. They all have one thing in comfort. They chose challenge over complacency. Struggle over ease, uncertainty over safety. You think they weren't scared? You think they didn't want to stay cozy, to relax, to avoid the hard stuff? Of course they did. But they knew that the moment they chose comfort, they would lose everything they were meant to become. So they pushed and they fought and they grew. They made discomfort their daily companion. And because of that, they created extraordinary lives. Lives that inspire others to get out of their own comfort zones. The truth is, your comfort zone is a prison. It's a prison that keeps you small, it keeps you safe, but it also keeps you stagnant. It convinces you that just getting by is enough. But deep down, you know it's not. You know there's more in you. You know you have greatness inside of you, but that greatness will never come out if you stay comfortable. Comfort doesn't help you become who you were meant to be. It helps you remain exactly where you are. And if you're okay with that, then by all means, keep seeking comfort. But if you're ready to take your life to the next level, if you're ready to play a bigger game, then it's time to step into discomfort. It's time to get uncomfortable. The first step to greatness is the willingness to be uncomfortable. You've got to push yourself every day to do the things that scare you, that challenge you, that stretch you beyond your limits. Every time you say yes to discomfort, you're saying no to average. Every time you choose to do the hard thing, the painful thing, the scary thing, you're evolving into the person you need to become to achieve your dreams. Success is not about playing it safe. It's about risking, failing, falling, getting back up, and pushing yourself further than you've ever gone before. Every time you're tempted to stay in your comfort zone, ask yourself this: do I want to be a victim of my own fears, or do I want to be the hero of my own story? Because comfort won't make you a hero. Comfort won't help you leave a legacy. Comfort won't help you make the impact you were born to make. But discomfort will push you. Discomfort will make you stronger. Discomfort will force you to become unstoppable. So the next time you feel the pull of comfort, the urge to stop, the temptation to ease up, remember this: comfort is your enemy, and the discomfort you feel is the fire forging your future. Embrace it, pursue it, because the only thing standing between you and your dreams is your willingness to be uncomfortable. Your growth is on the other side of your fear, and your destiny is on the other side of that discomfort. If you want to make something great of your life, you have to choose the hard path. You have to choose the path of growth. You have to choose discomfort. Because at the end of the day, it's not comfort that will give you the life you want. It's courage. It's discipline. It's the willingness to step into the unknown, to take risks, and to push beyond the limits you've set for yourself. The life you want is out there, waiting for you. But it's not going to find you in the comfort zone. You've got to go after it, and that means you've got to get uncomfortable. Stop comparing yourself to others. It's the greatest thief of your potential. Let me tell you something straight. When you compare, you lose. You lose your peace, you lose your focus, and most importantly, you lose yourself. Because the moment you start measuring your success against someone else's, you've already bought into a lie. You're not them. You're not living their life, fighting their battles, or walking their path. And yet so many people get caught in this trap, thinking they have to be exactly like someone else to succeed. Well, I'm here to tell you that's a lie. You weren't born to be a copy of someone else. You were born to be the best version of you. The problem with comparison is that it robs you of your authenticity. It forces you to focus on everyone else, on their achievements, on their success, on their progress, instead of focusing on your own. You start looking at their highlight reel and think you're falling behind. You think you're not enough. You think you're missing something. But let me ask you this. How many times have you looked at someone's life from the outside and assumed that everything was perfect for them? How many times have you envied someone's success without knowing the battles they've fought to get there? How many times have you felt that sting of inadequacy because you thought someone else had it better? Let me tell you this, no one is perfect. No one. Even the people you admire, the people who seem to have it all, they've had their struggles, their failures, their doubts. They've fought their own battles, and they've been where you are right now. But here's the difference. They didn't let comparison hold them back. They didn't look at other people's journeys and think, I'll never be like that. No, they said, I'm going to walk my own path. I'm going to create my own story. When you compare yourself to someone else, you're robbing yourself of your own greatness. You're forgetting the truth that your journey is unique. Your timing is unique. Your talents, your challenges, your victories, they're all part of a story that is entirely yours. And when you focus on what someone else is doing, you stop being present in your own life. You stop seeing the incredible progress you've already made. You stop recognizing your own victories, no matter how small they seem. Comparison steals your joy. It keeps you in a state of dissatisfaction because the moment you start measuring yourself against someone else, you're never going to feel good enough. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is you. Look at where you were yesterday. Look at what you've already overcome. Look at how far you've come. Progress isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. Success isn't about having more than the person next to you. It's about being more than you were yesterday. And the moment you realize that, the moment you stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20, you're going to unlock a power inside of you that you never knew existed. So stop wasting your time measuring your success by someone else's standards. The truth is, there's always going to be someone who's ahead of you. There's always going to be someone who's doing something you wish you could do. There's always going to be someone who seems like they have it all together, but here's the secret, those people aren't you. They have their own journey, their own struggles, their own path. You can admire them, but you don't have to be them. You don't need their life to create your own greatness. You don't need their blueprint to write your own. Every second you spend looking at someone else's life, you're wasting time you could be using to improve your own. Every moment you spend feeling envious, you're denying yourself the opportunity to grow. So stop comparing and start creating. Stop looking at what everyone else is doing and start focusing on what you're doing. Stop measuring your success by someone else's standards and start defining success on your own terms. If you really want to win in life, stop competing with the people around you. Start competing with yourself. Ask yourself, am I better today than I was yesterday? Am I closer to my goals than I was last week? Am I more committed to my vision today than I was last month? That's how you win. That's how you grow, not by trying to beat someone else at their game, but by becoming the best player in your own. You are not in a race with anyone but yourself. There's no finish line but the one you set for yourself. You don't have to be anyone else. You don't have to live someone else's dream. You don't have to follow someone else's path. You've got your own. And when you fully embrace that truth, when you stop comparing yourself to others and start investing in your own growth, that's when you'll step into your power. That's when you'll find the freedom to truly be yourself. And that, my friend, is when you will shine. Fear of failure. Everyone's been there. It's that gut-wrenching feeling that holds you back, keeps you stuck, makes you question your every move. It whispers, what if you fail? What if it doesn't work out? What if you look stupid? What if people laugh at you? Let me tell you something. Failure is not your enemy. Fear of failure is your enemy, because that thing that stops you from taking the leap. It's the thing that keeps you from moving forward. It's the thing that tells you to play it safe, to stay small, to avoid risk. But I'm here to tell you, failure is your greatest teacher. It's not something to fear, it's something to embrace, because every failure you encounter is one step closer to your ultimate success. The reason people are so afraid of failure is because they've been taught to see it as the end. We've been conditioned to think that failure is a dead end, that it's something that defines us, that it means we're not good enough. But that's a lie. Failure doesn't define you, it refines you. It doesn't mean you're broken, it means you're learning. Every time you fail, you gain wisdom, you gain experience, you gain strength. It's the only way to grow. It's the only way to discover your true power. Every successful person you look up to, every icon, every legend, every billionaire, they've failed. They failed big. They failed publicly. And guess what? They didn't let it stop them. They didn't let it define them. They used it to fuel their fire unless you stop. It's not failing that will keep you from your dreams, it's quitting that will. Every time you try and fall short, you learn, you adapt, you rise, but the only way to guarantee failure is to never try. So you have to ask yourself, would you rather risk failing, or would you rather risk never going after what you truly want in this life? The fear of failure is often rooted in the fear of what others will think. What if people judge me? What if they think I'm not good enough? But here's the hard truth. The world isn't paying as much attention to you as you think. People are too busy with their own lives to criticize yours. And even if they do, so what? Their opinion doesn't matter. What matters is that you showed up. What matters is that you tried. What matters is that you took action despite the fear, despite the doubts. And that, my friend, is how you conquer the fear of failure. By understanding that other people's opinions don't define your worth, their judgments don't stop your journey. The only thing that stops you is you. Fear of failure also comes from the illusion of control. We think that if we do everything right, if we follow the perfect plan, if we execute everything according to the book, we won't fail. But let me tell you, there is no such thing as perfect. There is no such thing as a foolproof plan. There is only taking action and adapting along the way. And guess what? You don't have to have it all figured out right now. You don't have to know exactly how it's all going to unfold. What you have to do is move. Move with purpose, move with intention, and move knowing that failure is just part of the process. You're not meant to have everything figured out from day one. You're meant to figure it out along the way. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for the perfect plan. The perfect time is now. Here's the thing about failure. It's inevitable. If you want to do something great, something meaningful, something that scares you, you will fail. You will fall down. You will face setbacks. But here's the game changer. That's not a sign to stop. It's a sign to keep going. Because failure doesn't mean you're not good enough. It doesn't mean you can't make it. It just means you're one step closer to the success that's waiting for you. Every time you fall, you're learning what doesn't work. And that's progress. That's momentum. That's growth. Because the people who win in life aren't the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who keep going when everyone else would quit. They're the ones who turn their failures into fuel. So let me ask you this. Are you willing to fail? Are you willing to face the fear, step into the unknown and try even when you're not sure it will work out? Because the only way to guarantee that you'll never fail is to never try. And if you're not trying, you're not living. You're not pushing yourself, you're not growing, and that, my friend, is a life that's wasted. You were not born to play it safe. You were born to take risks. You were born to fail, and you were born to rise again. The only true failure in life is not trying, it's not going after what you want, because you're afraid of what might happen. And let me tell you, if you can get over the fear of failure, if you can push through the doubts, if you can stand tall after every setback, that's when you'll experience real freedom. That's when you'll step into your true power. So the next time fear whispers in your ear telling you to play it safe, remember this. The only thing you have to fear is not trying. Negative self-talk. We all do it. We all have that voice inside our heads that tells us we're not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy of success. That voice that whispers, you'll never make it. You're not cut out for this. Who do you think you are to try? And let me tell you, that voice is a liar. That voice is the biggest obstacle you'll ever face. Not the economy, not other people, not even the external circumstances you're in. No, the biggest obstacle is the voice inside your head telling you that you can't. Here's the truth. What you say to yourself is more powerful than anything anyone else could ever say to you. Your words are spells. They're shaping your reality. Your self-talk is creating your world, your life, your future. So when you tell yourself you're not good enough, guess what? You're programming yourself to fail. When you tell yourself you're not worthy, you're blocking your own blessings. When you tell yourself you can't, you're making sure that you won't. The language you speak to yourself matters. Think about it. How many times have you caught yourself saying, I can't do this. I'm not strong enough. I'm not smart enough. You've probably said those things more times than you realize, but guess what? Those words are not the truth. They're just thoughts. And here's the powerful part. You have control over your thoughts. You don't have to believe everything that crosses your mind. You don't have to accept the negativity. You can challenge it. You can change it. You can replace it with something more powerful. The moment you change the way you talk to yourself, your entire reality changes. You're not defined by the negative thoughts that pop into your head. You're defined by how you respond to them. The first step to overcoming negative self-talk is awareness. You have to start noticing when you're being negative with yourself. You have to catch those thoughts before they start spiraling. Because here's the deal, those thoughts are like a virus. They spread, they multiply, and before you know it, they take over your entire mindset. But the moment you catch yourself thinking something negative, you can stop it in its tracks. You can say, no, that's not true. I am enough. I am capable. I am worthy. You can interrupt those thoughts with something empowering. And when you start doing that consistently, you'll begin to reprogram your mind for success. Negative self-talk doesn't just hold you back, it hurts you. It damages your self-esteem, your confidence, your ability to take action. The more you tell yourself you can't do something, the more you believe it, and the more you believe it, the less likely you are to take the action required to make it happen. But here's the beautiful thing. You can flip that script. You can change the narrative. You can stop waiting for permission from the world to believe in yourself. It all starts with the way you talk to you. Instead of saying, I can't do this, try saying, I'm learning how to do this. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, say, I'm growing, I'm improving, and every day I get closer to where I want to be. Instead of saying, this is impossible, say, this is challenging, but I'm up for it. You see, language matters. It's the difference between staying stuck in fear and moving forward with confidence. It's the difference between playing small and playing big. But here's the kicker. Negative self-talk doesn't just come from you. It comes from the conditioning we've received throughout our lives. Society, family, friends, teachers, media. We've all been fed the message that we're not enough, that we need to be more, do more, achieve more, and if we don't meet those standards, we're somehow falling short. But I'm here to tell you that those standards are arbitrary. They're not your truth. Your truth is that you are enough, right here, right now. You have everything inside of you to create the life you desire. The only thing standing in your way is the voice inside your head telling you otherwise. So here's what I want you to do. Start flipping the script. Every time that voice of negativity shows up, fight back with affirmations of power, confidence, and belief in yourself. Start speaking to yourself like you would speak to your best friend, with kindness, encouragement, and love. You wouldn't tell your best friend that they're not good enough. So why would you say that to yourself? You're worthy, you're capable, you're unstoppable. And every time you affirm that, you reinforce that truth within yourself. You build a foundation of confidence that can't be shaken. And let me tell you this. The moment you stop believing the negative self-talk, the moment you start trusting in your power, that's when your life will change. You'll stop holding yourself back. You'll stop second-guessing yourself. You'll stop doubting your potential. And you'll step into your greatness like never before. Your mind is the most powerful tool you've got. It's the key to unlocking everything you want in life. So start using it to your advantage. Start feeding it thoughts of success, of power, of confidence. Start speaking life into your dreams, because you're not a victim of your thoughts. You are the creator, and when you take control of your self-talk, you take control of your destiny. Procrastination, we all know it, we've all felt it. It's that voice that says, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it later, I'm just not in the mood right now. It's the thing that holds us back from doing what we know we need to do. It's the thing that steals our time, our potential, and our success. And I'm here to tell you, procrastination is never your friend. It's not a minor problem you can ignore. It's a dream killer. It's a momentum killer. And if you don't deal with it head on, it will sabotage everything you want to achieve. Here's the truth. Procrastination isn't about being lazy. It's about fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of the unknown. And all those fears are based on a false belief. The belief that if we wait, if we delay, if we avoid taking action, then somehow we'll be safer. But here's what's crazy. The longer you wait, the more fear builds. The more doubt creeps in. And the more you let procrastination take control, the more it robs you of the very things you want most. Your goals, your dreams, your happiness, your success. Procrastination isn't about time management. It's about emotional management. It's about the discomfort you feel when you think about taking action. Maybe it's the fear of failure that paralyzes you. Maybe it's the overwhelm of a big task that feels too much to tackle. Maybe it's the perfectionism that says if it's not perfect, it's not worth doing. But let me tell you, those emotions are normal. Every successful person has felt them. Every champion has had moments where they wanted to quit, to delay, to give in to procrastination. But the difference between the successful and the unsuccessful is this. The successful push through the discomfort. They take action despite the fear. They move forward even when they don't feel ready. And you can do that too. You want to know the key to overcoming procrastination? Make the first step as easy as possible. Take the smallest possible action to break through the inertia. It doesn't matter if the task seems huge. Start with something so simple, so small, that you can't help but do it. And once you take that first step, momentum will kick in. The hardest part is always starting. But once you begin, the floodgates open, the energy builds, and suddenly the task you were avoiding doesn't seem so overwhelming anymore. Here's another thing. Procrastination thrives on perfectionism. The idea that if it's not perfect, it's not worth doing. But here's the reality. Perfection doesn't exist. And guess what? If you wait for the perfect moment to take action, you'll be waiting forever. The perfect moment never comes. But progress is always available. It's about moving forward with what you've got, imperfect as it may be, and improving along the way. There's no such thing as a flawless start, but there's a powerful finish waiting for those who begin. The truth is, action breeds clarity. When you start, you'll learn. You'll adapt. And you'll figure out how to improve along the way. But you'll never know how to improve if you're still sitting there waiting for everything to be perfect. Procrastination also stems from the fear of being judged. You might worry about what others think of you if you fail. You might worry that you won't be good enough. You might worry that people will criticize you. But here's the truth. The only person who gets to decide your worth is you. The world doesn't have time to judge you as much as you think they do. People are too focused on their own lives. So stop worrying about what others might think and focus on what you think about yourself. And if you're going to judge yourself for not taking action. Because there's no greater regret than the regret of not even trying. Another reason people procrastinate is because they overestimate the difficulty of the task. We tend to make things seem harder than they really are. We look at a big project, a massive goal, and we think, there's no way I can do this. But here's the truth. Most of the time, things are as hard as they seem. When you break a big task down into smaller steps, it becomes much more manageable. You don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to tackle the whole mountain in one leap. Just take one step, then the next, and keep moving forward. Every step you take gets you closer to where you want to be. Now let's talk about your goals. I want you to think about the things you're putting off right now. The things that are weighing on your mind. Why haven't you done them yet? Why are you procrastinating? I'll tell you why. Because you don't see the urgency. You don't realize how much those small actions, those small decisions matter in the long run. Every minute you delay is a minute you could have used to get closer to your dreams. Every hour you waste procrastinating is an hour you'll never get back. And the longer you wait, the more momentum you lose. But when you take action, when you move forward with urgency, you create momentum. And that momentum becomes unstoppable. So here's what you need to do. Take action now. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for the perfect mood. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Just take action. Do something. Do anything. Even if it's small, once you start, the energy will follow. Once you begin, you'll realize that procrastination was the only thing holding you back. And when you break through that wall, you'll feel the power of momentum carrying you forward. The truth is this: the only way to truly defeat procrastination is to make it non-negotiable. You have to develop an internal standard that says, I don't wait, I take action. I don't procrastinate because I understand the cost of doing so. I understand the power of momentum. You need to make it impossible to procrastinate. You need to make action your default. And once you do that, you'll stop being controlled by fear, you'll stop being controlled by doubt, and you'll start taking massive action toward the life you deserve.
Listen to me right now. Your entire life is being shaped by forces inside you that you may not even realize are controlling you. And the crazy part, it's not fate, it's not luck, it's not the economy, it's you. The way you think, the way you move, the way you connect with what's deeper than yourself. Some of you are walking around with a Ferrari of potential inside, but you're driving it like a rusty old bike. And you wonder why you're tired, why you're frustrated, why you're not living at the level you know you were born for. Today, I want you to imagine what happens when your mind, your body, and your soul are aligned, when every part of you is firing on all cylinders. What happens when you stop living by other people's limits and start living by your own highest standards? What happens when you stop waiting for the right time and decide to ignite the fire inside you now? That's the journey we're about to take together. And it all starts with this one truth. Your mind is the command center. Whatever you feed it becomes your reality. Most people go through life not realizing that their mind is like a garden constantly being seeded. Every word you hear, every belief you allow in, every conversation you entertain, it's either planting something that will grow into strength, resilience, confidence, or it's planting weeds that choke out your potential. If you're not intentional about what you put into your mind, you become a passive participant in your own destiny, allowing the environment, the media, the opinions of others to dictate your reality. Think about it. If you constantly surround yourself with people who complain, who talk about limitations, who remind you of what you can't do, it won't be long before your inner voice begins to echo the same narrative. On the other hand, if you feed your mind with empowering ideas, with visions of possibility, with examples of people who refuse to quit, your brain starts wiring itself to see opportunities instead of obstacles. The truth is, your mind doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. If you tell yourself you're broken, unlucky, or destined to fail, your brain starts scanning your life for proof. It will find reasons, memories, situations that reinforce that belief, because the mind wants to stay consistent with what it believes. But if you tell yourself that you're strong, that you're resourceful, that you're capable of more than you've ever shown, your brain will also find evidence to back that up. Suddenly, the same challenge that looked like a dead end yesterday now looks like an opportunity to grow today. You haven't changed the world outside you, you've changed the command center inside you, and that shift changes everything else. You've got to treat your mind like a fortress. Guard the gates. Don't let in garbage, because once it gets in, it doesn't just sit there, it multiplies. But also, don't just guard against negativity. You've got to actively feed it with what strengthens you. Read things that expand your vision. Surround yourself with voices that push you forward. Practice focusing on gratitude, because what you focus on expands. If you wake up every morning and your first thought is about what you don't have, what's missing, or how far you are from where you want to be, you'll feel drained before the day even begins. But if you start by focusing your mind on what you already have, what you've already overcome, the progress you're already making, that shift in focus charges your entire nervous system with energy. It's not about ignoring reality, it's about shaping your reality by directing your mind where you want it to go. You can't control every event, but you can absolutely control what meaning you give it. And meaning is what dictates whether you rise or collapse. The mind is a meaning-making machine. If you get rejected and tell yourself it means you're not enough, you'll stop trying. If you tell yourself it means you're being redirected to something better, you'll push forward. Two people can experience the exact same event and have two completely different outcomes. Not because the event was different, but because their mind assigned a different meaning. That's the power of the command center. You've got to train it like a muscle. Repetition creates mastery. If you want your mind to work for you, you can't just think positively one time and expect your life to change. You've got to do it daily, like brushing your teeth. You've got to challenge your own negative thoughts, interrupt the patterns that keep you stuck, replace them with empowering ones, and do it over and over until your mind defaults to strength instead of weakness. The question is, what are you allowing your mind to feast on every day? Train your thoughts daily. Focus on possibility, not limitation. What you focus on, you feel, and what you feel becomes the fuel that drives your actions. Most people have trained themselves without even realizing it to focus on what could go wrong. They play out worst-case scenarios in their heads. They rehearse failure before they've even taken a step, and then they wonder why they lack confidence or motivation. If your thoughts are focused on limitation, you're always going to feel limited. But if you train yourself to focus on possibility, you unlock energy that you didn't even know you had. Training your thoughts isn't about fantasy, it's about discipline. It's about catching yourself in the moment when your brain says, you can't, and replacing it with what if I could. It's about noticing when you're asking the wrong questions. Why does this always happen to me, and changing it to the right ones? How can I use this? What's the opportunity here? The quality of your questions determines the quality of your life, because your brain is like a search engine. Ask it weak, negative questions and it will find you weak, negative answers. Ask it empowering, solution-focused questions, and it will find you empowering, solution-focused answers. Think of athletes, leaders, inventors, creators, the people who changed history. They didn't focus on why it couldn't be done. They trained themselves to focus on how it could be done. Even when no one else could see it, their mind was conditioned to lock onto possibility, like a heat-seeking missile that didn't happen by accident. It happened by training their thoughts daily, by refusing to let limitation be their default setting. And here's the truth. Every time you choose possibility over limitation, you strengthen a pathway in your brain. Neuroscience calls it neuroplasticity. Your brain literally rewires itself based on what you repeatedly focus on. If you keep rehearsing fear, those fear pathways get stronger. If you keep rehearsing courage, those pathways get stronger. Which ones are you strengthening right now? Focusing on possibility doesn't mean the limitations disappear. It means you no longer give them the steering wheel. They're still in the car, but they're not driving. You're driving, and your focus is locked on the road ahead, on the future you're building, on the potential that exists in this very moment. You can either focus on what's missing or what's possible, but you can't do both at the same time. One shrinks you, the other expands you. One paralyzes you, the other propels you. So the training is daily. You wake up, and before the world has a chance to flood your mind with noise, you set your focus. You decide what you'll give your energy to. You decide which thoughts are worthy of your attention and which ones you'll starve out. That's not wishful thinking, that's ownership. And ownership is the foundation of transformation. Raise your standards and refuse to live by other people's ceilings. Every breakthrough in your life begins the moment you say, this is no longer acceptable. I will not live this way anymore. Standards are invisible lines you draw in the sand. They define what you tolerate, what you pursue, what you settle for. The problem is, most people didn't set their standards intentionally, they inherited them. They picked them up from family, from culture, from the environment around them. And because of that, they're living in boxes that were built by someone else's limitations. If your parents believed money was hard to earn, you probably grew up believing that wealth was out of reach. If your friends believed relationships always end in pain, you might unconsciously sabotage your own. Those are ceilings placed on you by others, but they only become permanent if you accept them. When you raise your standards, you stop negotiating with mediocrity. You stop saying, well, this is just how things are, and instead you declare, this is who I am now, and this is what I demand from myself. Notice it's not about demanding more from the world first. It's about demanding more from yourself. You want a better body? Set a higher standard for how you move, what you eat, how you care for yourself. You want a stronger business? Set a higher standard for how you show up, how you serve, how you lead. You want deeper love? Set a higher standard for how you communicate, how you listen, how you bring energy into the relationship. The moment you change what you demand from yourself, your entire environment has no choice but to adjust. Think about it. Two people in the exact same situation with the same resources can end up with completely different lives. Why? Because one of them set higher standards. One said, I'll accept average health. The other said, I will not accept anything less than vibrant energy. One said, I'll take whatever job I can get. The other said, I will only work in a way that uses my gifts and expands my future. And while it might look like luck or talent separates them, it's really the invisible line of standard. The ceiling you accept is the ceiling you live under. And here's the secret. You don't get your goals, you get your standards. Goals are what you wish for. Standards are what you live by. If you say, I want to be fit, but your standard is to work out only when you feel like it, your results will reflect that. If you say, I want financial freedom, but your standard is to spend every dollar you earn, your results will reflect that. But if you raise your standard and make it non-negotiable, I move my body every day, no matter what. I save and invest before I spend, that becomes your identity. And identity always wins. So ask yourself, where have I been living under someone else's ceiling? Where have I accepted limits as normal just because I saw others accept them? What's the new standard I need to set that would change the entire trajectory of my life? Because the moment you raise your standards, you're no longer playing the old game. You're writing your own rules, and life bends to meet the level of demand you place on yourself. Your body is your vehicle. Strong body, strong life. You can have the sharpest mind in the world, the biggest dreams, the most powerful vision, but if your body doesn't have the energy to execute, those dreams never leave the page. Your body is the machine through which every idea, every goal, every relationship is lived. And yet, how often do people neglect it? They fuel it with junk. They deprive it of movement. They ignore its signals until pain forces them to pay attention. Then they wonder why they feel tired, unmotivated, or stuck. You can't expect a weak vehicle to run a powerful mission. The body and mind are not separate. They're deeply connected. When your body is exhausted, your mind can't think clearly. When your body is full of energy, your mind becomes sharper, your creativity expands, your resilience strengthens. The quickest way to shift your emotional state isn't to think differently, it's to move differently. Stand up taller, breathe deeper, move your body with intensity, and you'll feel a surge of energy you didn't know was available. That's because motion creates emotion. Your physiology is the switchboard to your psychology. Motion creates emotion. Change your physiology, change your state. Every single one of us has experienced days when our mind feels heavy, when stress, doubt, or fear start to take over. And when that happens, most people try to solve it at the level of thought. They sit in their head and wrestle with the problem, overthinking, analyzing, questioning. But the truth is, you can't always think your way into a better state. You've got to move your way into one. The fastest way to change how you feel is to change what your body is doing in the moment. Your body and mind are not separate systems. They are one interconnected feedback loop. When you slump your shoulders, when your breathing is shallow, when your movements are slow, your nervous system interprets that as low energy, as fatigue, as weakness. Your emotions follow the signal your body is sending. That's why depression often shows up with physical patterns: collapsed posture, low energy, lack of movement. The emotion reinforces the motion, and the motion reinforces the emotion, creating a cycle that can feel unbreakable. But the moment you shift your physiology, stand up taller, move faster, breathe deeper, you send a new message to your nervous system. You interrupt the pattern and create a new state. This isn't theory, it's biology. Adrenaline, endorphins, oxygen, they are all released and activated through movement. That's why after a workout, your problems don't feel as heavy. Your outlook feels brighter. Your confidence feels higher. You didn't erase the problems, but you gave yourself access to a different emotional state. The kind of state where solutions become visible. High energy creates high possibility. Low energy creates low possibility. And the difference is often one decision away. Think about athletes before a game, speakers before a stage, performers before a show. They don't sit still and hope to feel confident. They move their body, they bounce, they stretch, they breathe powerfully. They use motion as a lever to create the emotion they need. And the same principle works in your daily life. Feeling stuck, move differently. Feeling stressed, breathe differently. Feeling insecure, stand differently. The moment you shift your physiology, you shift your focus, and when focus changes, emotion changes with it. This is why rituals matter. Daily movement rituals, whether it's exercise, stretching, dancing, or even just a powerful walk, are not just about physical health, they're about emotional mastery. You're training your body to generate the emotions you need instead of waiting for them to show up. You're putting yourself in control of your state instead of being a victim of circumstance. When you master your physiology, you gain the ability to choose how you feel in any situation. And that's a level of power most people never tap into. Fuel and move your body as if your future depends on it, because it does. The body you neglect today is the one you'll be forced to deal with tomorrow. Too many people treat health as optional until it becomes urgent, until they're facing a crisis, until their body demands attention in the form of pain, illness, or exhaustion. But what if instead of waiting for the breakdown, you build strength and energy now so your future self has the power to thrive? Your body is not just for survival, it's the engine that powers every dream, every goal, every relationship. Without energy, even the best opportunities slip through your hands because you don't have the vitality to grab them. Without health, even the deepest love becomes limited because you can't fully show up for it. Without strength, even the greatest ideas die on the page because you don't have the capacity to bring them into the world. That's how deeply your future depends on how you treat your body today. Fuel is the first step. What you put into your body either builds you or breaks you. Food is not just calories, it's information. It tells your cells how to operate. It tells your brain how sharp to be. It tells your mood how stable to stay. Sugar, processed junk, constant caffeine spikes, they rob you of sustained energy and create a roller coaster of highs and crashes. Whole, nutrient-rich foods stabilize your energy, fuel your focus, and keep your body performing like the incredible machine it was designed to be. Hydration matters too. Most people walk around chronically dehydrated, mistaking fatigue for lack of sleep when in reality their cells are simply starving for water. Movement is the second step. A body that doesn't move is a body that decays. Muscles weaken, joints stiffen, energy declines. Movement doesn't just shape the body, it keeps the engine running smoothly. Regular training builds strength, protects against disease, and floods your system with the chemistry of vitality. You don't need perfection. You don't need to spend hours every day. You need consistency. A short workout, a daily walk, stretching, resistance training. These are deposits into your future bank of energy. And it's not just physical. The discipline you build by moving your body daily carries into every area of your life. When you prove to yourself that you can push through resistance in the gym, you're teaching your brain that you can push through resistance in business, in relationships, in personal growth. The body becomes a training ground for resilience, grit, and follow through. Your future depends on your body because without energy, nothing else matters. You could have the vision, the strategy, the talent, but if you don't have the vitality, you can't execute. That's why it's not optional, it's foundational. To live the life you're meant to live, you must treat your body as the vehicle carrying you toward that future. Fuel it wisely, move it daily, respect it deeply, because the stronger your body, the greater your capacity to live fully, to serve powerfully, and to create a future beyond anything you've imagined. Your soul is your fire. Without purpose, success feels empty. You can achieve everything you thought you wanted. You can stack up wealth, accolades, recognition, but if the soul isn't lit, if there isn't a deeper why behind it, you'll find yourself asking the same haunting question, is this all there is? That's because fulfillment doesn't come from external trophies. It comes from internal alignment. The soul craves meaning, it craves connection, it craves a sense that your life matters beyond the surface. When that fire is burning, every challenge feels worth it. When that fire is missing, even victories feel hollow. The soul is what drives people to keep going when logic says quit. It's what fuels resilience in the face of impossible odds. It's what makes someone pour their heart into a vision that others can't see. The body gives you strength, the mind gives you strategy, but the soul gives you drive. Without it, discipline feels like drudgery. With it, discipline feels like devotion. That's why people who have discovered their soul's fire often outlast, outperform, and outshine those who rely only on intellect or willpower. They're not just working for a paycheck or a prize, they're working for a purpose. And here's the truth. Purpose isn't something you stumble upon by accident. It's something you uncover by asking deeper questions. What moves me? What breaks my heart? What lights me up even when it's hard? Purpose is often born in the tension between pain and passion. Some of the most powerful missions come from people who turned their deepest wounds into fuel for change. The soul takes suffering and transforms it into service. That's how the fire is lit. But it's not just about grand missions or world-changing movement. Purpose exists in the small things too, in how you show up for your family, in how you serve your community, in how you use your gifts to make even one person's life better. The soul doesn't measure purpose in size, it measures it in depth. You can feel more alive washing dishes with presence and love than chasing a career you don't care about. The fire isn't about impressing the world, it's about expressing your true self. The danger is when people chase external success, thinking it will ignite the soul. They climb ladders that lead to emptiness, they chase goals that look good on paper but don't resonate inside, and when they get there, they feel the emptiness no one warned them about. Because success without soul is the greatest failure. You've got to reverse it. Light the soul first, find the fire, and then let that fire fuel your pursuits. When the soul is on fire, success becomes not just achievement but fulfillment. Contribution creates fulfillment. Live for more than just yourself. Human beings are wired to grow, but we're also wired to give. Growth without giving feels selfish. Giving without growth feels depleted. The sweet spot of fulfillment is when you are expanding as a person while simultaneously pouring into others. The moment your life becomes only about you, your problems, your goals, your needs, you shrink. But the moment you shift your focus outward, who can I serve? How can I contribute? What difference can I make? Your soul expands. Contribution isn't about charity alone, it's about meaning. It's about knowing that your presence in this world makes it better for someone else. That could mean mentoring, teaching, serving, creating art, raising children, or simply offering kindness in a world that desperately needs it. The act of contribution breaks the cycle of self-absorption and reconnects you to something greater than yourselves. It taps into one of the deepest human needs, the need for significance. Not significance built on ego, but significance built on impact. Look at anyone who has sustained long-term happiness, and you'll see a life built on contribution. Wealthy people who hoard their money rarely feel peace. Successful leaders who only serve themselves eventually collapse under emptiness. But those who tie their success to serving others, whether it's through philanthropy, innovation, mentorship, or love, they find a sense of joy that can't be bought. Because the act of giving connects us to our humanity, to our spirit, to our soul. And contribution doesn't require you to have everything figured out or to be in perfect condition yourself. You don't have to wait until you're rich to give, until you're fully healed to help, until you're perfect to serve. In fact, sometimes the most powerful contributions come from people who are still in the process of figuring things out, but they choose to share their journey, their lessons, their presence anyway. You don't have to change the whole world, you just have to change someone's world. The paradox of life is that the more you give, the more you feel full. Scarcity says, if I give, I'll have less. Abundance says, the more I give, the more I receive. And not always in material form, often in joy, connection, meaning, and fulfillment. Contribution is what gives your success context. It turns wins into legacy, it turns effort into significance, it turns a life into a story worth telling. Without contribution, even the grandest achievements fade into dust. With contribution, even the smallest acts echo for generations. Align your mind, body, and soul, and you become unstoppable. Imagine for a moment that your life is like a three-legged stool. One leg is your mind, one is your body, and one is your soul. If one of those legs is weak, the whole stool wobbles. If two are missing, it collapses. But when all three are strong and aligned, you can stand tall, stable, and powerful no matter what weight life tries to put on you. Most people spend their entire lives strengthening one or maybe two of these areas while neglecting the others. They sharpen their mind, but neglect their body. They strengthen their body, but ignore their soul. They nurture their soul, but never train their mind. And then they wonder why they feel incomplete, why they succeed in one area but still feel like something is missing. Alignment is the key. The mind sets your direction, the body gives you the energy, and the soul provides the fuel of purpose. Each amplifies the other. A strong body without a strong mind is wasted potential. A sharp mind without a strong soul is empty achievement. A lit soul without a disciplined body can't sustain its mission. But when they work together, they form a powerhouse of clarity, vitality, and meaning. That alignment turns you into a force of nature. You don't just think clearly, you act boldly. You don't just survive challenges, you thrive through them. You don't just chase goals, you create a life that feels alive on every level. Think about the greatest leaders, creators, and changemakers throughout history. They weren't just intelligent, they were physically resilient, emotionally connected, spiritually driven. Their mind allowed them to envision what others couldn't see. Their body gave them the strength to endure when others quit. Their soul gave them the fire to keep going when logic said stop. That's the trifecta of alignment. Without it, you're scattered, drained, or stuck. With it, you're grounded, energized, and unstoppable. Alignment doesn't happen by accident. It requires daily practices that bring all three into harmony. You fuel your mind with empowering beliefs, learning, and gratitude. You fuel your body with movement, nutrition, and reverie. You fuel your soul with purpose, connection, and contribution. And the more consistent you are, the more natural alignment becomes. Eventually, you don't even think about it. You simply live in a state where all three are working together. And when you're in that state, obstacles don't intimidate you, they activate you. Setbacks don't crush you, they refine you. You stop playing small because you realize that all of who you are, mind, body, and soul, has come online, and that kind of power can't be stopped. Stop waiting. Decide today to live fully, powerfully, and on fire. Too many people live as if time is infinite. They wait for the right moment, for the stars to align, for some magical sign to give them permission to start. But life doesn't wait. Time doesn't pause. Every day you wait, you're not just standing still, you're moving backward, because opportunities are passing, energy is fading, and the fire inside grows dimmer. The truth is, there is no perfect time. The perfect time is the moment you decide. Decision is the ultimate power. When you decide, truly decide, everything changes. Decision cuts off all other options. It says, this is who I am now. This is what I will do. This is what I will no longer tolerate. Most people don't lack ability, they lack decision. They keep entertaining the back door, the excuse, the maybe someday. But the second you close the back door, the second you commit fully, your mind sharpens, your body mobilizes, your soul ignites. Life rewards boldness, not hesitation. Living fully means you stop dipping your toes in the water. You dive in. It means you stop waiting for courage and realize that courage only comes after action. It means you stop surviving and start thriving, stop existing and start truly living. Living powerfully doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you move forward in spite of it. It doesn't mean you always win. It means you refuse to quit until you do. And living on fire means your energy, your passion, your presence becomes contagious. People around you feel it. They see the spark in your eyes. They hear the conviction in your voice. They sense the strength in your presence. You become the kind of person who doesn't just chase change, you create it. Deciding today isn't about having it all figured out. It's about choosing to take the next step. It's about saying, I will no longer wait for permission. I will no longer wait for certainty. I will no longer wait for someday. I choose now, because someday is a lie. It never comes. The only time you ever have is now. And when you treat now as sacred, when you treat this moment as the moment to shift, to act, to commit, you step into a level of power most people never experience. So the question becomes, what will you decide today? What will you stop postponing? What will you stop tolerating? What will you start committing to with everything you've got? Because the instant you decide, truly decide, you tap into the force that transforms lives. And once that fire is lit, once that decision is made, the life you were meant to live stops being a dream and starts becoming your reality. So let's bring this all together. You've seen what happens when you take control of your mind, when you train it to focus on possibility instead of limitation. You've seen how raising your standards changes not just your goals, but your identity. You've seen how your body isn't just a shell, it's the vehicle that carries your future. How motion shifts your emotions, how energy fuels everything. And you've seen that without your soul, without purpose, success feels empty, but with contribution, fulfillment becomes inevitable. When your mind is sharp, when your body is alive, when your soul is on fire, nothing outside of you can stop you. Challenges won't break you, they'll shape you. Setbacks won't paralyze you, they'll fuel you. And the secret is simple: alignment plus decision. Align your mind, body and soul, and then decide to stop waiting, to stop postponing, to stop living someday. Decide to live now, fully, powerfully, unapologetically on fire. Because the moment you make that decision, the moment you truly commit, you stop just existing and you start living the life you were created for. If this lit something inside you, then this is your place. This is Tony Robbins' track. Subscribe right now, because you don't want to miss what's coming. Drop a comment below and tell me, what decision are you making today for your mind, your body, or your soul? Share it, own it, make it real. This isn't entertainment, it's transformation. If you're ready for that, hit that button, join the family, and let's keep that fire burning.